For those of you that don't know, how many people here? So here is my first esteemed guest here. This is Renaud Dumora, who's going to introduce himself shortly. But I want to ask people here. I think everybody knows BNP Paribas, the bank, but who knows Cardiff? Voila. Voila. Just me. Okay. Just me, the American, of course. So that's wonderful to know. So I was going to just give you some statistics on BNP Cardiff, just so that you know. So it is the insurance branch of BNP Paribas. It's providing savings and protection solutions to more than 100 million clients. So that's a lot. There's not going to be a test on these numbers, but you should pay attention. Okay, there's basically three business lines that BNP Paribas Cardif offers, which are savings, protection, and property and casual insurance. They serve 500 partners in 35 countries, just to give you an idea of scale, and 239 million euros asset under management. Million, 239 million, thank you for that correction, assets under management. So I asked Renaud to introduce himself by telling us what is the name of a book that he thinks best represents himself or the industry where we are now. So Renaud?
Thank you, thank you, April. I'm prepared to this question, of course, and I just looked at the last books I've read, and in fact, no one has any link with the subject of today. That's why I selected a very old book. I'm sure you don't know it. It's called Minds, Brains and Science. In French, it's Du cerveau au savoir by John Searles. It's a book from the mid-80s. You'll see it's very, very old. But it's very important to me because it was inspiring me, and that's why I'm involved myself in artificial intelligence. At this time, it was beginning of the 90s, of course, we were not data scientists, we were statisticians. It's a little bit less sexy, but it's what it was at this time.
And we tried. Right away. I love that. Go.
and we tried to use neural networks at this time to create things like credit scoring or marketing segmentation. But because of the very poor power of our computer and the small size and the bad quality of our database, of course, it didn't work. But anyway, I was convinced, and I'm still convinced, that artificial intelligence, data science, big data, open data is the future of insurance. And this is now we have the evidence, and this event is the evidence that digital will be the future of insurance.
I'm going to go a little bit off track since you said it now. Renaud, is the future now, or is the future in the future?
It's starting now. It is starting now, definitely, definitely.
Yes. Or are we late? Are we too late?
No.
Okay, so let's begin. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about digital transformation and the insurance industry. So the first question that I want to ask you, Renaud, is today with digital transformation and low interest rates, the insurance industry seems to be at a turning point, I think, in history. Tell us, what do you think life insurance will look like in the year 2030, given the fact people are living longer and so on?
Yeah, you're right. The environment of insurance will drastically change in the next years. You mentioned the low interest rates, the volatility in the financial markets, the new technology, the new customers' expectations, the new regulations, the over-regulation. And assures that life insurance has to adapt itself. And one thing will help us is, of course, the technology. But according to me, the main change and the most important change in the future for life insurance will be the commitment to our environment, the green life insurance. People today, they want us, our customers, they want us to tell them the story of their life insurance. They want us to be very transparent on the impact of their investment on the society and energy and ecological transition. And that's absolutely key. One example, already today in the life insurance, in the general funds, what we call in France Eurofund, but it's the same in all the countries, we have evaluated more than 98% of our assets according to ESG criteria. And that's absolutely compulsory. We have to evaluate our investment and the impact of our investment on the environment.
Can you repeat that? Did everyone hear that number?
98% of the assets are evaluated through ESG criteria, and that's absolutely. And we have a commitment before end of this year. We want to invest in more than 3.5 billion euros in green investments. We have to progress in that. And today, performance and impact and positive impact on society is the same. That's no more a competition between conference and positive impact on society. If you want performance on the long term, you have to have a positive impact on your environment.
Wow, now that's a big number. Okay, thank you for that. Moving on, so private equity is becoming more and more to the forefront, particularly in wealth. Now, in private equity is a must-have for clients who want to make sense more of their investments. But it's typical, it's outside, really, of the purview for wealth management, outside of the purview for insurance a little bit. But how can insurance better contribute to financing the economy? How can private equity come together with insurance for moving the ball forward, say, to 2030? How will those things come together?
I think this question is the other side of the meaning we have to give to the investment of our customers, of our insurees. We have to contribute to the economic growth. We have to contribute to the new technologies, to innovation, to creation of jobs. That's part of our responsibility. As you say, we are managing 240 billion euros in terms of asset under management. This is giving us responsibility. But here we are at the Fintech Forum, and the startup is very important as well in this movement. And we created, as an example, we created some years ago a fund dedicated to startup. We have invested in. We are working with Cat Innovation, and we are investing in 12 different startups coming from all the countries: US, UK, France, Spain, Mexico, Israel, China. And in all areas of the tech, blockchain, new distribution, connected cars, data science, and that's very, very important because we invest only in startups we are working with. That's because they are bringing something new to the insurance industry. But that's for the early stage. In France, we are a little bit weak. I mean, the French ecosystem is a little bit weak for the growth stage. And we decided with many French insurance companies to commit ourselves to invest in the growth stage as well, quoted and not quoted, private equity, and all the commitment. We take the commitment. We signed a paper with the French government some weeks ago, and the total of the amount of the commitment of the insurance company is 6 billion euros. Wow. 6 billion euros for the growth stage, to create an ecosystem for the growth stage in France.
So how can you just talk for a minute maybe about how BNP Wealth Management works with BNP Paribas Cardif, understand how these two entities come together? We are of course we are two partners, but we are not working for wealth management. We are working with BNP Paribas Wealth Management, but we are working with other wealth management companies as well, in many countries, in France, in Luxembourg, and that's we are. What's very important is that you include the insurance customer journey within the bank customer journey. That's by any means, by API, or by any technical means, but you have to include yourself in the banking customer journey. Yes, we're going to get to that question. That's one of my favorites. So tell us a little bit more about how BNP Paribas Cardif actually works with fintechs and how you work with startups here, and how do they help you as an incumbent, as an organization, to move the ball forward. Let me just ask, of our audience here, how many people here are startup? Okay, great.
First, I already mentioned the fact that we have created a fund to invest in startup, but that's not the only way to work between a large corporate and a startup. I think that time where we had this opposition between startup and large corporate is over. Yes. Now we know very well how to work together despite our differences, and what's very important according to me is that we are not in the POC time. We have to go to an industrial partnership now, and I will take one example. This is not in France, this is in Italy. We have worked with a big startup which is called FNZ. I like it very much because it's FNZ specialized in algorithm to optimize the protection of unit-linked portfolio for our customers. And with a daily algorithm, we take contact with the customer. Here you have to change your allocation, but that's very smart. And we started 1 year ago. Now we have hundreds of millions of euro of life insurance investments, and we are thinking to develop this in other countries now. But it's working now. We have to consider startups like other partners.
And on the flip side, though, Renaud, how is technology challenging to the way that you sell life insurance?
I'm convinced that in the next years, this will be the part of the value chain who will change a lot. This is the distribution side. Last year, a few months ago, we launched a survey in 26 countries with Ipsos, it was about how people want to protect themselves and how people are projecting themselves in the future. And of course, we think about insurance as the main tool to help them in this projection. And I will just mention one question. The question was, where do you want to buy insurance? And surprisingly, 72%, and it's quite homogeneous in the 26 countries, they say, I want to buy insurance in a digital place, in a physical place, speaking to a human being. And at the same time, when we fully digitalize a process, when we automatize a process, for example, for underwriting, we increase our net promoter score by 40 or 50 points. Wow. This is a contradiction. They want to buy insurance in a physical place, speaking to a human being, but if you automatize, they are very happy with that. In fact, this is not an opposition. This is not a contradiction. It is a fact that you have to digitalize in your sale process, but whenever a customer raises his hand and says, I want to speak to someone, you have to create an exit door in your digital process to allow them to speak to someone. And this is the perfect combination between the digital and, of course, the sailor, the real sailor, the human being.
I think, it's interesting that you say that because, of course, that's where we came, right? Some people want one digital experience. Some people want a hybrid experience. Other people want strictly human experience. And the best is, of course, everything. Why should we have to choose? So our final question today for Renaud is, thanks to digital, of course, as we talked about today, there's many more services that people can have access to. Does that mean that you can, so this is a two-part question, improve the access to insurance for less affluent people? And then on the flip side, we see the number of people, right, looking for this family office type service, which is insurance, wealth management, banking, savings, everything all together has increased in recent years. How do you see this topic coming to the forefront and bubbling up? Are these, the companies are separate, but the customers want everything bundled together? Renaud?
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, and this is not exactly where the money is.
Yeah.
Some of you know Cardiff, but maybe you know our mission. Our mission is to make insurance accessible to the many. And wealth is part of that.
Yes.
And financial planning, as you say, life insurance is part of the holistic financial planning. And we have worked with we are working with a startup called Birdie, which is specialized in a robo-advisor for asset management. And we are working with them in France. We have created a life insurance product with this kind of automatic advice, which is very, very important because the world is so complicated. We need to have this kind of family office. It's online. It's a pure online product. And today it's accessible from 1,000 euros. Which is quite small for this kind of family-like kind of service. And this is possible just thanks to digital and, once again, thanks to this startup called Birdie.
Interesting. Okay, a big round of applause for
Thank you very
Renaud.
much.
Thank you very much. We'll be available.